You ready? Well, we see. I'm Phil. This is my co-host Corey, and we're talking about aliens again.
I mean, the sad part is, okay, folks, this is incredibly disappointing after the last one. This is like, again, the off-brand version of Congress testimony.
I will take full responsibility for this episode.
We want to talk. I was saying we were talking about the moon. You said no.
This is aliens awesome. On the moon, but there wasn't a lot on that either. It was more like East Indians on the moon, because that's big news. But other than that, yeah, no. Well, what had happened? Let me explain myself before you. You explain. I was at work. My Instagram is blowing up with feeds about, Mexican government,
which says something about your Instagram feed. You really need to clean that up and make sure that sanitize it or something. And then there was something in there about 47 different species of aliens, and I'm like, oh my god, this is awesome. This is very topical, and we should really, look into this. And so I, of course, talked to you. And my first clue that this was something was up was like, I hadn't heard anything about this. I'm like, this sounds awesome. This sounds, it must be.
But you Google it, and it's all over. It was all over. It was a big, for like 4 minutes. It was like this huge deal. And still, it's a little bit. What's the word? There are a little bit of still little tidbits in there that no one's disproving at the moment. But yeah. So anyway, the whole idea is that Mexico, our good friends in Mexico, they basically had a meeting with this fella named Mawson. What's his first name? Jamie.
Jamie Mawson, a reporter in his 70s, who, FYI,
was at one time a very well-respected reporter.
Listen, we're not saying he's not well-respected now, but if you
no, he's pretty much shunned amongst the community of reporters.
I don't want us to since 2017. I don't want us to get sued. Yeah, that would be the last time. The last time he did something like this. Yeah.
Yeah. So the last time, you know what? This guy might just be one of those guys that's just like, he's like, I want to believe too. And somebody comes to him with this shit, and he's like, all right, this is the one. this is the guy. But this was not apparently the guy. But in 2017, we'll go back. We'll kind of do a little history here. So,
actually, let's set the full stage first.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Like, I'm way ahead of myself.
I was completely unaware about the Mexican version of the U.S. UAP Congress testimony.
And it really wasn't. This was not a whistleblower. This was a show and tell, so to speak. So the basically this reporter, he says that he has alien bodies, and that he wants to present this to their Congress, and
it's like their Senate or something. So it wasn't.
Yeah, it's a similar idea. It's a
but maybe like the
body of individuals who make decisions in the government, which in the Mexican government, I don't think that if the cartel's not there, I don't suppose that anything's happening. But yeah, so they set this up. They basically have a very elaborate display of these glass, display boxes with these very tiny. They almost look like they're made out of stone. Stone
because they were mummified, right?
They were mummified, yeah. So and then the carbon dating on these things, I guess, was from between 1,000 and 1,800 years. And they were apparently excavated through a Peruvian Peruvian dig site. They were not from the website. They were definitely dug out of the ground, apparently. And then it says that the University of Mexico, like one of their main universities, had done some research. I don't know if that's entirely true, because when that research was sent to other people, they basically said, yeah, this is a bunch of bullshit. So long story short, he's got something there. It might be old, but in all likelihood, it's not alien.
Yeah, and the sad part about this is I think Ryan Graves actually was at the
committee. Like his name comes up a couple times. So from our last episode,
Right.
Ryan Graves
was a well-decorated pilot commander. Commander Ryan Graves was also part of the whole whistleblowing that we did and we covered in the last episode.
Yeah, and
so
he was
there.
This. He was at this, and he was trying to walk it back. I was reading some of the articles where he's walking it back afterwards, saying, "This kind of sets things back after the U.S. testimony."
This is not a, and the unfortunate part is he probably shouldn't have been there.
It adds legitimacy. That's the big issue about when he shows up. First off, it hurts his legitimacy. But
he's never claimed to have seen anything other than have the experience with the UAPs. So him being there, I'm not even sure why. It doesn't even make any sense. And then and what the internet does is just absolutely fucking blows this out of proportion and says that there are ships and there's this and that, and actually none of that is true. From our reading. Now you have to wonder because we did. So the DNA was tested. There was also some sort of metal. It's what's it called? Osmium. It's a very Oh, hold on. There's a rare metal. I can look it up, but it was apparently detected inside this creature as well. And there were eggs inside one of the creatures when they DNA tested, or not DNA, they X-rayed the bodies. And it was basically, they're saying that none of the DNA resembled anything on Earth. And then other scientists are like, well, it kind of does. Right. But at the same time, the first thing, when we talked about this, I'm like, if you were a government and Mexico all of a sudden was going to kind of go, all right, yeah, we got aliens. Somebody's pee-pee is getting slapped somewhere. I don't care who you are. Like, there may very well be crashed, because I mean, this is what they're saying, that there are actual like in the whistleblowing that there are recovered bodies, etc., etc. However, not any government is going to come out and openly admit that. I can't imagine.
Well, right? Or they do it when their hands caught in the cookie jar, right? It's the whole, hey, if we can't hide it, well, own it.
Yeah, and this was sort of out in left field, right? So
very much in left field.
Yeah, very much in.
And again, I want to say it's like, hey, listen, we can do testimonies too in front of Congress too. We need
right.
You start looking at some of the stories. So let's focus on one thing, and what I always look at whenever I read this is consider the source.
Yeah,
consider the source. The source of this, however he managed to convince the Mexican Senate, Congress, whatever it is, to do this and add legitimacy to it.
to do this.
You look at his history. So there's been at least 2 documented.
Well, 2017, he did a similar thing, right? And the remains he found near, it was Nazca lines.
The 3-fingered alien.
Yeah, it turned out to be just like animals and children sewn together and glued with paper and all sorts of weird shit.
Completely forged.
Completely fraudulent. Yeah.
Now, he also did in 2015, he led an event called Be Witness, where a mummified body claiming to be an alien child was unveiled, was later revealed to be just a child that was mummified.
Yeah. So now in various parts of the world, including, I think, South America, there were head binding thing. Like they found skulls, these
circumcision.
That's a top. Yeah. Take the top off.
Just a little bit off the top.
A little bit off. Don't take too much. You get a weird curve if you do.
Lots of rituals that where
they find these heads all over the place where they've bound the skulls, but then you find like feet. Look at the Japanese binding feet and stuff, like weird shit where women have like the tiniest little.
I think it's called lotus foot, I think is what the proper term for it. And it's like this weird thing that you can fit in your mouth, I guess.
Looks like an ostrich beak. It fit in your mouth. What the fuck?
If you're Shogun, you can get people to do whatever you want, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, whatever floats your boat, I guess.
And I guess you can't run with those feet either. So there's a bonus.
No, yeah, I guess it slows you down quite a bit not having an arch.
Having an arch. If I don't have my supports in my shoes,
Right.
that's me. I'm limping along. I'm like,
I can walk fast with my shoes, with good shoes.
I'm getting
yeah. So that's where we're at with this. So yeah, 2015. Now I think he wants to believe this guy, this Jamie guy, and not only does he want to believe, it's not just him. So these are like paleontologists. Like the first one in 2017, what was his name? Rodolfo Salalis Gismondi. Was also the guy who was like, hey, this is what I found. And then, Jamie Mausen's like, yeah, man, this is great. Let's blow the lid off this.
This is part of the problem. When you so want to believe something, your critical thinking goes out the window. And we see this all over the place with everybody does this to varying degrees. You are more likely to agree with something that you agree with, which sounds,
or that you want to believe in. And that's the dangerous slope that we walk down.
You're not going to evaluate it independently and say, okay, wait a second here. We got to make sure our T's are crossed and our I's are dotted. If you're for a plan,
right,
you are going to do everything you can to make that happen, as opposed to say, maybe this is a bad plan.
Well, and this is it, right? So this is a bad plan. We've done this dance before. But yeah, so they basically brought this information. Then of course, as the Senate or whatever it is says, okay, well, we're going to do our own investigation. And now apparently there are other bodies. So the data that was taken. So this is one of the things that this Jamie fella says is, the data isn't actually from the two that are being presented. It's from a third body, and because they didn't want to destroy the structural integrity of the bodies, right? And then it starts to sound a little bit more.
A lot of work went into them, Phil. You wouldn't want
some. Yes, I think they're made of cake.
That's right. Have
you seen
marzipan? It's marzipan.
It's amazing what you can make out of cake.
I don't think we're putting the gravitas on this as we should.
Yeah. But yeah, so he says there's actually a third that they've like opened up and dissected, and or whatever the case may be. Now they did do X-rays on these other two, and they did. I don't know the extent of whatever else, but that was mentioned in there. Yeah, that we did take the DNA from something else. So it just becomes very convoluted, and you kind of go, okay, how did you even get into the Senate in the first place? Would be my question.
So that is that would be, you'd have to talk to your good buddy, Sergio Guenes Luna, who's apparently he's a Mexican politician. I guess.
Well, he was.
What I read, he was instrumental in getting this to sort of happen. And I think
was he the guy? He was you would have to have someone with some pull to go, hey, I got a couple of Muppets.
Well, how did the US thing happen? Right. And this is,
the US, we can't even, this is not even oh my God.
It's not.
The Dyatlov Pass compared to the American, very similar.
The Yuba 5.
Yeah, the Yuba Counter 5. But God rest their souls.
But it's that idea that the US had their big reveal, and it's almost like you could see somebody saying, hey, that, and I blame the US for this one. I mean, sorry guys, I blame the US Congress for their thing for this one, because Mexico would have said, wait a second, why can't we do that too? Who do we know who's got some stuff?
But it's totally unrelated. Okay.
Oh, it's totally unrelated.
Like when you have the brush.
Did you hear what Ryan said about this?
No,
so Ryan, I mean, afterwards. Oh, yeah, poor bastard. Yeah, he's
what a gross waste of my time. I'm going to Acapulco.
Not quite that bad.
I get a free trip. I got a free trip out of this. I just said, yeah, I'll show up.
So he says, my
wife loves sandals.
On X, he said, unfortunately, yesterday's demonstration was a huge step backwards for this issue. My testimony centered on sharing my experience and the UAP reports I hear from commercial and military air crews through ASA's witness program. I will continue to raise awareness of the UAP as an urgent matter of aerospace safety, national security, and science. But I am deeply disappointed by this unsubstantiated stunt.
Right.
So this is a guy who says, "Listen, I know I've seen stuff," and he's like, "Okay, this
doesn't well." But it's like when we, when I first saw it, I'm intrigued. I'm like, this is interesting. Okay, what could it be? I mean, my first thought is, all right, this is perhaps not anything. But in the way, in what a perfect time to do it, because in light of all of the things that are going on, this is a great time to go, oh yeah, look what I found, or look what we've had.
Well, you won't be ridiculed or
quite the same.
Well, you
at least until we look into it.
Yeah, that's right. Reuters, like you said, was a little there. A lot of the headlines on this, folks, were unkind.
Well, because it's bullshit. The guy is a crook, and
well, it has to do with your credibility. It's like the boy who cries wolf, right? So when you have two other episodes of going off and saying, "Hey, here's an alien mummified child." It's a mummified child. Okay, well, he's an illegal alien, right? Like we're not sure of his citizenship in Aztec land. And the other one where it's like this somebody made from a bunch of other things. Like it was not accidentally, it was made.
Well, no,
somebody had gone off and
this was put together, with fucking paper mache. One of them.
Oh yeah, they were talking like
this was in 27. But these are made of something with DNA. There's no question. So. Well, it was living of some sort, or pieces of living whatever. So 30%. So even Reuters says 30% of the DNA is they don't know what it is. Now, that doesn't make it not human, or it just makes it not that it's not human.
That doesn't make it non-terrestrial. That means
correct. That's right. It doesn't make it not of this planet. Right.
We didn't bother doing the genome for everybody, every living thing on the planet. You go off, you take some insect paste. I don't know. Again,
it doesn't even matter. Like they don't have every record of every DNA on file, I would think. So it's just showing up but it's also carbon based. Like it's of this planet. Yeah,
sure.
But the one thing was the metal that was inside the thing. I don't even know if that was real, because that was one of the claims, is that there was this unknown or very rare metal that was inside one of the.
Well, we have metal inside us, right?
No, well, it looked like, from the X-ray, it looked like a you have pins in your legs.
Gotcha.
It looks like Buddy had like his chest caved in at one time and had pecs installed or something. He wanted to look real for the girls, kind of thing.
Pec implants.
Pec implants,
Big in Alpha Centauri.
Yeah, they're not really like big chested creatures, One to puff out a little.
But they can care about their appearance too.
That's right.
Now, so when we talk about, let's talk about the construction. Do you remember the alien autopsy video?
Man, I do remember it, and it's still debated. I know that everyone says it, but no, okay.
The guy came out and confessed.
Did he confess? I thought it was still debated. The guy from like Star Trek, what was?
Which one?
No, it was number 2. No. He did the documentary. What was his name? Shit.
Okay, let me just see here.
He had a beard. He was on Next Generation. You're not a Trekkie though. You never watched Star Trek.
Oh, dear Lord, no.
See, I enjoyed Star Trek.
Okay. Belatedly, a Manchester sculptor and special effects creator, John Humphreys, now claims Roswell A was his handiwork, destroyed after the film was made. So essentially, he said this was made like.
We hear that all the time, though, and that doesn't necessarily. Well, it looked pretty fucking good.
Okay,
pretty fucking good.
Okay, but this is the problem.
It's like the guy in the Bigfoot. Oh yeah, I was the guy in the Bigfoot costume, and he's like 5'4".
Yes. Okay. Fair enough.
You go, oh yeah, that was me, man. I was
the special effects guy who said, I did it for this movie, and
and for sure. But I'm just saying.
I know, but people are more likely to believe that it's hidden, right? That all of a sudden, oh God, somebody got to him.
Well, and here's the thing now too, is that you see all these videos and like I like reading through them because there are a ton of videos that are out there now. There's one where there's like triangle shape. I just watched it this morning. It's a triangle shaped thing over top of the pyramids, and it like sends this little blue light down to the tip of the pyramid, and there's people in the crowd. Like there's a bunch of people taking pictures of this. And then the whole comment section, because I like to read the comments. I love to read the trash, right? And, and they're all like, it's a CGI. But so we're in a time where we can dismiss everything to CGI. We can dismiss everything to, you know,
it's not wrong,
it's a
Phil.
fake.
Not
you
wrong.
know,
Not wrong. Look at AI.
What a great AI. You know, you can listen to you know, Donald Trump sing the Macarena now. I mean, everything is no longer
Ronald Reagan saying "fuck the police."
Right? It's a lot of great songs of.
The generative AI stuff is pretty cool because I mean, now mind you, to do the really, I was watching something recently about the deep fakes.
Right. Yeah.
And they were showing how, you know, here's how you can spot them. Like the eyes don't look right. Like
they kind of stare. Yeah.
They're doing weird things, but also they say basically if it looks like bad dubbing, it's probably and it does not, and it has not been dubbed, it's probably a deep fake. So look at the mouth, and if there's any timing is even slightly off.
Yeah. And as human beings, we're very good at picking that sort of stuff up. Like
when
little
we
nuances.
Look for it.
When we look for it. I mean, you know, I see it. It's even like when you know, like different CGIs when you're watching movies and stuff, and you can kind of pick it up right away.
Yep.
We just know the movement of human beings. We know that, you know, it's ingrained in your fucking DNA, right? So when you see something, you go, what the fuck is that?
But if you want to believe, Phil,
of course, if you want to believe,
you're going to gloss over all that. You're going to say, oh, well, you know, it must have been like a bad camera.
For sure. And right? Can you blame people for saying, oh my God, it's just CGI? No. God damn, look at the movies we watch. I mean, if you were just, let's say there's an alien technology out there and they're watching Superman, for fuck's sakes.
Oh, Phil, and look at the myths and legends. Back in the day, right? We hear all these awesome things about how Hercules did this, and you know, everybody grows in the telling. Well, now we've got video footage of Chris Evans throwing a motorbike. We're like, man, look at only the Avengers. Look at the heroes of old. Look.
Yeah, well, this is what I'm
saved like, New York. Like when we have a societal collapse, and that's what we're using as our record of history.
We're like, damn, on it, Phil. We got to work out more.
Work out more, but maybe ordered chaos, Phil, will be part of that. It'll be one of those things. It'll be like, this was the news of the time. Look at these two professionals.
Look at, yeah, well.
Maybe not.
You're pretty professional.
Probably more likely to believe that the Avengers existed than that we're professional.
We are the voice of our generation.
Voice of our generation. What the hell was that? Walter Mondale? What the hell was that you were doing?
It's the voice of our generation.
Now you're Sean Connery.
Shaken, not stirred. Yeah, that is absolutely. Yeah, no, but I do want to, like, I mean, we see all this evidence and you see all this stuff, and especially when we
evidence
start
with
researching
air quotes.
it.
Evidence with air quotes.
Well, and that's the problem, is that, you know, everyone, like, are we a conspiracy podcast? Not really. We're more of a sort of informational, pick it apart, I would say, to some degree.
This is right up there with the Montauk Project or whatever.
Oh my God, the Montauk.
This is right up there as far as the level of. I'm trying my best. I really am trying my best to put on my.
Okay, at the top of this, I am by far more of a believer in most things, and this is like, this just goes. Oh.
I'm taking my skeptic's hat and sort of setting it to the side, which I always try to do because you do want to look at it.
Sure,
like
sure.
It's all kidding aside. Mocking somebody. Some people fervently believe this and trying to figure out why. Like, I try to put myself in the mindset of saying, okay, why? What is the trigger point that somebody says this is true?
Right.
What's the palpable piece of evidence to say, yeah, these exist?
Yes, but here's the thing: do I believe in UAPs? Absolutely. Sure. But how can you believe in UAPs without something flying them?
Okay, but
to some degree.
not, the A doesn't stand for alien. This is
Not
important. This is important.
Right. So
I believe in it too.
As Graves has said, he says this is not tech. This is hundreds and hundreds of years past
Time
beyond
travel.
our.
Time
Yeah,
travel.
like
Time travel.
it's beyond. Stop with time travel.
You saw the Montauk. You saw Montauk Project. Remember, he went into the future.
The dude from Montauk who lived in a trailer and wrote lots of books.
That's right, and went into the future.
Went to the future and saw himself. Oh my god!
And brought back the technology and flew some UAPs.
And Fritos. He brought back Fritos. It's like I'm gonna keep Fritos here. Why? Yeah, that was a terrible fucking.
And that was also yours.
There was a huge following of the Montauk Project.
That was also you. I want to go on record as saying that was also you, Phil.
I thought it was interesting though.
Oh, it was terribly.
That's terribly interesting. Crazy.
Horribly interesting.
That whole the whole show, whatchamacallit there?
Stranger Things.
Yeah, Stranger Things was that they loosely based it on Stranger. Like that's what it's based on. The Montauk.
Yeah, it's kids trapped in chairs and being molested. Or whatever. Yeah, I just remember there was a lot of really dark elements to the Montauk Project.
Oh yeah, there was tons. And then they opened a portal to the somewhere bad.
Yeah.
And the beast came out and killed them all, but then somehow they were able to shut it down. Right. Okay.
Go team.
But this is on that level of, I think these are more tricksters. That guy was insane.
Well, this Jamie guy may be a bit insane too, because this is the third time he's trying it. And again,
maybe
he wasn't successful with the other twos. Well, yes.
He's old.
Do you think Jamie believes? And
I think he does.
He's just kind of like he's running with this, or do you think he does? So you think he does?
I think he believes. I think he's like the guy that's like, I want to believe, prove it to me. And he's probably sitting at home going, oh man, they did it to me again. You know, because you watch the guy talk and he's very passionate. He's like, you know, like, and he's not the scientist. He's just the guy that's like, people are coming to him, right? And so there has to be a time where you go, all right, Jamie, just hang up your fucking, camera.
He's a reporter, though. He has to think critically, because
sure,
if you go off and run with a story that,
okay, but if I come to you at the University of, like, let's say Ottawa University, and I say, here's the report on these things, and you go, wow, okay,
that's a lot of words. That's
stamped and tagged, right? And this is the kind of the history, and you go, oh, okay, well, maybe there's something here, right?
Start to collaborate it though, but that's so you never rely on one source. So if Ottawa U came to me with this report, I'd be like, okay. And this is funny enough to the genesis of our podcast, COVID. That was part of the problem, is that when you don't have a lot of stuff, you really don't have the ability to go off and verify or validate the information you're getting. If I have one report saying, aliens exist.
Right.
Okay.
Well, no, I totally agree.
Merits.
He probably should have did a little research. And maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe he's like, this is the perfect time to do something like this, and I've just been waiting.
Did they ever cover in this? I couldn't find. I was trying to track down. Like, he's the reporter, but he didn't go and dig up these mummies. So I was
that guy that. No, that was. Oh shit.
I was trying to track that information down. All the articles focus on the Jamie Munson guy as the reporter, and I was trying to track down who provided you with the bodies and came to you and said, "Hey, Jamie, you're very passionate about this. I would really like to present to Congress or the Senate or whatever."
Well, to the
I've heard it called Congress.
I did read
Senate,
it though.
Two different things.
Like where it was, like who was. It's out there, but because they did say, I'm just trying to find it here real quick, but yeah, so where he did the samples were analyzed by the National Autonomous University of Mexico. So that's who did that. And it doesn't say, maybe it doesn't.
That's where he took it to, but I'm trying to find out who gave him the mummies. Where did he get the drugs from?
Well, why did he hoop the drugs? And now, well, here's the other thing. Okay. is that these are not from this country. So there's a little bit of like, well, they were removed from Peru.
Sure.
So the Senate was like, oh, hey, you can't do that. That's illegal.
That's right. Sorry, British Empire. You have to give back all your stuff you took from Egypt. Turns out it's very frowned upon.
Yeah, so they're like they're looking at charging the individuals. So the guy that is the they don't mention him. He's anonymous. The individual who owns these.
Convenient.
How convenient, but he's also convenient because he knows you're not supposed to take anything out of these places. So they were basically kidnapped. Let's say they are put together 1,000 years ago by whomever, right? They're still artifacts to some degree.
There's something.
They may go, they're not alien, but they're certainly even Reuters says, yeah, they're old. Like they're super old. The carbon tests.
The question is but that's the problem. Are they old because they've been built out of old? Like if I take a bunch of mummies and smash them together.
Oh, perhaps. Or they're just, like old. You said, there were kids who were bound that were, that we don't understand what fucking happened back then. I mean, so it's showing that it's human DNA to some degree. That's what they're finding as a result of doing secondary testing. So, but you're not allowed to leave and remove stuff. So it's a criminal act. It's like, it's a federal offense to remove artifacts of antiquity, so to speak. So yeah, maybe he'll go to jail.
I think he'll claim the privilege or whatever it is where you say you protect your source. I'll be curious to see where this goes, because it might be one of those, I don't know, situations that kind of degrade for him.
Well, and this is it. And Snopes doesn't have anything on their website as of yet. I like to go to Snopes because they're pretty good. They seem to do a little bit of investigation, and they actually.
Well, it helps put you on the trail, right? You pull up Snopes, you take a look, and
it's on there, but it's not on there as debunked or not yet. So I know, but there was some unknown DNA. Now, what does that mean? I'm not a scientist. I have no idea. And then there was this osmium metal, very rare. Apparently, it was there too. So, but this could be something where they adorned these children, right? How do you know? You don't know. So yeah, that's where we're left at. No more aliens this week or next week. We're gonna take a break from aliens, unless one lands.
Unless there's an update.
Unless there's an update to this story.
So, would you like to summarize, Phil, for the audience?
Yeah, sure. I can do a summary on this. Man who is terribly naive, believes somebody who has aliens, that he believes they're aliens, coerces some high-level government official to provide a Senate review of the said aliens. Turns out the aliens are made of cake.
Don't forget Mexico. Let's clarify. This is Mexico.
This is Mexico. It was a cornflour-based cake. Well, Mexicans do not have wheat. It's all corn flour. Delicious, however. And yeah, very disappointing. Charges could be presented because the artifacts were removed at one point in time from Peru.
Yeah, and that's the interesting part. I just want to interrupt about that. No. That it seems like it's less about the fact that this was a massive hoax for charges, and more about the fact that you took something you shouldn't have.
Yeah, it's not illegal to be to do the hoax. I don't think. I think it's more you wasted everyone's time, and you're
if you're under
not
oath,
trustworthy. Were they?
We're
it's not a court.
Was Grush, Graves, and
they were, but that could be a very different scenario, right? Like they're also under oath as government officials. Like Grush was a high-level, high-clearance government official. Anyway, turns out after third-party investigation, these are of this earth, and here we are, holding the bag. Damn it. Holding the bag of cake.
Hands on the sack.
Everyone's got their hands on the sack. Here we are. So what are we going to do next time? I think we need to...
as the hard-hitting investigative podcast we are, I think we need to, go off and really get something people can get behind. And let's do Cthulhu.
Cthulhu. And I don't know much about Cthulhu. So I'll figure it out. Cthulhu, Lulu.
You do Cthulhu.
Cthulhu too. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for watching the OC. I'm Phil. This is my co-host Corey, as always, and we'll be back doing Cthulhu Who Do You Do next week on the OC. Bye now.
Take care, folks.